Today, I figured we would go through the books that I got in September. I want a little bit more of a record of books that I get because I know what I have, but I never know when I get them or why I've gotten them. Most of the time I do remember. I have a really great memory, but in months like September, where it is my birthday, a lot of things get a little bit hazy. I also want to preface this video by saying I work in publishing at the moment, which means that there's a lot of books on here that I get as part of my job and because of my job, and then there's another part where I review books on my Instagram and I post about books on my Instagram, and that is also why I have quite a few books. And then lastly, as I mentioned, September was my birthday month, and for my birthday my boyfriend took me out to buy books to a certain value, and so I went a little ham, okay? So with that being said, this is not going to be an every month situation. I got really spoiled in September. I got really lucky, and I'm very grateful, and I really am excited to talk about all of these books. So I think I should start off with maybe the books that I got from work as being an employee, essentially. Like, I got them because I work there. So the first one I have here is this beautiful proof of A Day, a Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. This is coming out, I think, in February. I'm not sure, there's like 2 dates on here. I have Priory somewhere and I'm really excited to get to it because I'm really excited to get to this one. This is apparently a prequel, so technically I could have read this one first before reading Priory, but I do, from what I understand, you can read these in any order, and this proof is honestly phenomenal. I am hoping to get this in a hardcover eventually, but this proof is very like flexible, which is something that I really do appreciate, because like, look at that flap. I would not be able to read it any other way. Then the next book I have is A Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. We all know Victoria Aveyard is the author of Red Queen. I do have Red Queen somewhere on those shelves over there, and I do need to continue on reading the series, but I kind of need to reread Red Queen before that happens. But I figured I would get this. This was initially given to me because we were gonna do a read-along for Blade Breaker, which is the second book in the series, but we haven't done that, and I don't think we're gonna do that, but it was still given to me regardless for that, and I'm really grateful because now I have like 2 trades, so I have they match, essentially my editions match. I do plan on reading this in November and reading Blade Breaker also in November, and this is just like your typical YA fantasy book, which I'm really excited for. Victoria writes really great books that are very easy to read, so I'm excited to pick this one up and see how her writing has changed, because I did read Red Queen, and Red Queen is a popular TikTok book if I'm not mistaken. I then got a proof of 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. I just did my September wrap up, which I have linked up in the info cards, where I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which was a reread for me, but I'm really excited for her newest release. I know she just recently wrapped up her trilogy for A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I'm really excited to read this book by her. I'm in fact reading it in October, which I really am excited for. I cannot wait to pick it up. The next book I got as part of working is The Winners by Frederick Buckman. I actually have read Frederick Buckman before, and I've really enjoyed his writing. I listened to Anxious People on audiobook, which I loved, and I do think I'm going to get a physical copy of that sometime soon because I really liked that one. I think that one is like the most relatable, but this is his final book in the Beartown series that he wrote. This is a spoiler for my October haul, but I recently got both Beartown and Us Against You, so I'm hoping to kind of read all 3 of them in one go and just finish the series. Frederick Buckman is an incredible writer. Hands down, he is a best-selling author with every book, and he also wrote A Man Called Uva, and Uva is coming out as a movie in an upcoming month, so I'll probably pick that book up pretty soon too. But I also have Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey, which I'm also excited for. I'm hoping to maybe pick it up in November. This comes out in February next year, and yeah, this is her next one. I read her, not her most recent one, which was My Killer Vacation, but I read the Ballinger sisters, I think. The Hook, Line, and Sinker, and the other one. I also have Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This is R.F. Kuang's normal fiction, contemporary fiction novel. It's being released next year in May, but people are already getting copies of these, and I've seen amazing reviews, and a friend of mine actually lent me her copy. I recently got my own, so I'm excited to pick this one up because apparently it's phenomenal, and I have no doubt that it is, because R.F. Kuang just writes amazing worlds and amazing books, and I'm really excited to continue following her career. And the last book I have here is God Killer by Hannah Kana, and this is coming out in January next year, and this is a really short book, and this is from Harper Voyager, and this just sounds so amazing, and this cover is also like super stunning. And with this one, it says she makes a living killing gods and enjoys it until she finds a god she cannot kill, and I mean, Come on guys, I'm a fantasy reader. What do you expect from me? Then the next stack I have here is books that I received to review, and these are from publishers that I don't work for because I work for Jonathan Ball Publishers, but these are from Penguin and Pan Macmillan South Africa, who have kindly sent me some review copies, which I'm really excited to get to because some of these are some amazing titles. So starting off with Penguin Random House, a huge shout out to them for sending me some of the books that I've actually asked for quite recently, and I felt a little bit spoiled. The first one being Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reed. This one is obviously a very popular book. I think the more popular cover is this one, and this is a dark romance that I'm really excited to get to because it just sounds really good and it looks very pretty. So I was quite happy to have received that one. I then received Beneath the Keep by Erica Johansson. This is the prequel series to, or the prequel book to, The Queen of the Tearling, and I wanted to read this one first before I picked up Queen of the Tearling just because of like the fact that this is a prequel. I'm somebody who has to read books in chronological order, the same with movies actually, which annoys the crap out of my partner, but it is what it is. I then have a really spooky read, which is Our Crooked Hearts by Melissa Albert. I have another Melissa Albert on those shelves over there that I just haven't picked up, and that was her debut even, but I'm really excited for this one. This one sounds really good. It sounds witchy and just everything that this spooky season is about. And then the next one I have is A Proof, which is The Stranded by Sarah Daniels. This also sounded really good. A soldier, a medic, a rebel, a traitor. Welcome to Arcadia, which is basically people have been stuck on a cruise ship for a whole lot of time. It says here for 15,938 days. They can't go to the mainland unless they have special permission to do so, and this just sounds like a really phenomenal read, and it's got some really cool sprayed edges, so I'm really glad that I got this. The last one I got from Penguin Random House is All the Broken Places by John Boyne. This is the sequel to The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. I do want to read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas before I pick this one up, but this book is just phenomenal, and we obviously all know The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. I'm pretty sure that is still a set workbook to today, and I feel like this is going to be a very important topic. Kind of discusses how people talk about this moment in history and how Germans have kind of attempted to fix the history or atone for their mistakes during the Holocaust, obviously the mistake being the entire Holocaust, but to atone for what they had done during that time, and kind of how people from that time are forced to constantly deal with the aftermath. And I do know the Germans are very quiet when it comes to things that happened in history, so this is going to be a very interesting one to read. Then moving on to some books that I got from Pan Macmillan South Africa. Once again, thank you so very much to them for sending this to me. I have two here, both of them are thrillers, and both of them will be featured in Thrilltober, and it's these two, Daisy Darker and The Favour. I'm very excited for Daisy Darker. I realized somewhere I said I hadn't read Alice Feeney before. That's a lie. I read His and Hers, and I'm really excited for Daisy Darker because I saw someone, I'll have them linked down below, it's Hayley Hughes, and she was talking about Daisy Darker and how it was just phenomenal, and I'm picking it up because of that. I then have The Favour, which is a domestic thriller where two people who should never have met end up meeting because of a circumstance that one of the people just can't walk away from. So I'm really excited for this one too. I would say check out the trigger warnings for this one. Then, as mentioned early on in the video, I had my birthday in September, and as a result my boyfriend took me to go and buy some books and spend a lot of his money, which I was very grateful for. So I'm going to show you some of those books, and in addition to that I also got some books from his family, which I'm really appreciative of, so I can't wait to show you. The first one I have here is from my boyfriend's family, and that is The House in the Cerulean Sea, and this is by TJ Klune. This has obviously made its waves. This is also another cozy fantasy magic realism story that I've heard a lot about and I've been wanting to pick up for so long, but I don't know why I just never bought it myself. But I'm very grateful that they bought me a copy because I really cannot wait to pick this one up. I think I might pick it up in December just to get all those cozy vibes, and like we're going to the coast in December and it seems like the perfect time to read it. And then my boyfriend got me Lore of Olympus because I really wanted to pick it up, and like I just heard really good things about this webtoon that's now been turned into a graphic novel series. I do know volume 3 is coming out soon, so volume 2 is already out and I will be getting that in the future, but right now I have volume 1 that I need to read. I don't know when I'm gonna read it, but I do read graphic novels quite quickly, so I might just read this and spoil it for later on Heartstopper, maybe next month or this month, depending on how I feel. I then also got The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I actually mistook this for The Graveyard, is it The Graveyard Boy? The Graveyard Book? The Graveyard something, which seen a lot of people reading that quite recently, and I wanted to pick that up, but I I mistook it for The Ocean at the End of the Lane for spooky feelings, but this I think is a sad book. I did pick this up. This one has a lot of illustrations throughout, which I think the Graveyard book. So I'm really excited. This is my first Neil Gaiman. I've read Norse mythology, but this is my first fiction Neil Gaiman book. I then got Neon Gods by Katie Roberts, and I really am excited for this one. I am really all into smutty, and I probably would not have picked this one up with my own money, but I figured why not pick this one up whilst I have the opportunity to do so. I do know the series is finished, and this is a modern retelling of Hades and Persephone. There's a lot of those going around right now, so I'm really excited to dive into them because Hades and Persephone is probably one of my favorite Greek mythology stories out there. I then decided to pick up The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I didn't want to get too invested in getting the whole series just in case I didn't love the first one. I know that's probably not likely, like I'll probably like them all, but I didn't want to invest too much of my birthday money in this, so I'm really happy that I got to pick this one up, and I'm really excited to pick it up hopefully soon. These spines look so good next to each other, like 100% easy, and I really am looking forward to reading more of this. I then got a copy of Beach Read. You might have seen that recently, or somewhat recently, I read Book Lovers, and this is the next one that I really want to pick up. I read People You Meet on Vacation / You and Me on Vacation. Did not love it, really loved Book Lovers, and figured I might just love Beach Read because it is also about books. It's an enemies to lovers, a rom-com waiting to happen. Like, it just, everyone knows what Beach Read is, so I'm excited to pick this one up. I then picked up She Who Became the Sun, which is a fantasy retelling of his true historical events. There's like some fantasy elements in this historical retelling of true events. That's all I got. I then have A Winter's Promise. This book was going around for so long, a couple of years ago, where the English translation was just coming out, and I wasn't sure. I haven't seen it in South Africa for so long, so I don't know actually who's bringing this in, but I really wanted to pick it up because this cover is just something. It looks incredible, and I've heard good things about this, so I figured why not pick it up. It was translated from French. I then got The Family Remains, which is one of the books I was so excited to get this year, and I'm really happy that I now have a physical copy that matches my copy of The Family Upstairs. So I really am excited. I'm also reading this in October, which I cannot wait for. I've heard some mixed things since it's released, but I just can't wait. I promise we are nearing the end. We then have White Hot Kiss by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I figured I'd pick this up because Jennifer L. Armentrout is making some waves, and this is a book series that I saw come up quite recently. I do want to get From Blood and Ash. I have the German version like right there, but I want to get it in English, and I can't decide if I want to get it in hardcover, but it all depends whether Jonathan Ball are going to bring it in or not, because that makes a difference in price. I then got Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I know there's a whole bunch of booktubers who recently read the entire like 16 book trilogy, and I'm a little bit late to that boat, but I do want to pick it up, and I kind of wanted to pick it up at my own pace instead of reading one of these every single month, especially since I would have to buy the entire series. And what's strange enough, like I have not seen Assassin's Apprentice anywhere for months, actually for years, like in most bookstores, and I saw this and my boyfriend was like, just take it, you know you're gonna read it, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, I am gonna read it. I then got The Summer I Turned Pretty. This is the TV tie-in edition, which I actually quite like. It's quite pretty. I like the really muted colors and the very neon spine, and I figured I would pick this up even though I know it reads quite young, but I kind of want to read it before watching the Prime Video. There's that. I then also got Tomorrow, Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Obviously this has also been making really popular waves at the moment, and I didn't want to miss out, so I got it. I also then got the first book in the Plated Prisoners series, Guild by Raven Kennedy. This has just been picked up traditionally by Penguin Random House, so I'm really excited for that because it does impact prices a little bit more, and I am really excited to pick this one up. I didn't want to get the entire series because once again I don't know how I'm going to feel about it and if it's bad, because I know the first book isn't amazing, but I do want to pick it up, and if I like it enough I want to have it physically. But I didn't want to buy the whole series and then hate it. I then also have Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. I actually have read this before and I DNF'd it, but I was listening to it on audiobook and I really do want to read it physically, but I kind of wanted this hardcover, which was actually really inexpensive, and it's like a story within a story within a story, which is something that I really enjoy reading. This is the collector's edition of City of Bones, which I am currently collecting them. They're over there somewhere. I'm currently recollecting the Cassie Clare books that I have, or that I used to have, and I actually sold my original set that I had because I didn't think I was gonna continue reading them, but I kind of want to continue reading them now. So those are the books that I got for my birthday, and then the next couple of books are books I bought myself / I was gifted for like randomly by a work colleague. So the first two that I'm going to show you, they bought for me, which was quite nice of them, which they really didn't have to, and it is Among Thieves by MJ Kuhn, as well as The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik. I've got her I think it's Uprooted that I have on my shelf somewhere, and I still need to read it, but I really do want to read A Deadly Education, but I can't find that book anywhere. And I know this is the trade, but I figured I'm not too mad about like things not matching, so I got gifted these two. And then rewind back a couple of minutes to when I was talking about Cassie Clare, I got these ones. So ones, because I know the City of Bones, like the Mortal Instruments collector editions, are only being released like in small amounts, or I don't even know how they're releasing that, but I figured I would also just grab these whilst I can, because these are the original covers, and I figured, well, why not? Then the last two books that I have to mention here are two books that I got myself, and the first one being Heartstopper Volume 1. I originally read this on Webtoon or on Tapas, I think it is, and I really enjoyed it, and I've been looking forward to getting this myself, but could never justify paying 300 rand for this. Like, dude, that's insane. And then I also got Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, just because like her newest book, The Sea of Tranquility, has come out, and I know these are all set in the same universe, so I kind of want to read this. This is set in a pandemic, so take from that what you will, and I just know that that's a good book. And those are all the books that I got in September. As mentioned, there are so many caveats to this, and thank you so very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, or if you have anything to tell me about which books I should pick up sooner rather than later, please let me know. I always need help in that regard, and I will see you in the next video.